Hi guys, follow me on Instagram to never ever miss any of my crazy updates.
Hi guys and welcome to another vlog. I'm driving this. This is the new MG Astor. But before I get into the in-depth review of this car, let me discuss something important with you guys.
With the buying of a new car also comes the purchase of the most suitable and budget-friendly auto insurance. Did you know you can choose your auto insurance and it is not mandatory for you to buy it from your car dealers only. In fact, they can't even deny you when you choose to not buy from them. It often hurts when you find out you could have saved quite a lot on your new car insurance premium. Hence, with Acco Insurance Company, you can directly buy your auto insurance with zero paperwork, zero commission, and it also has same-day settlement for minor damages. In short, getting auto insurance from Acco Insurance Company is simply convenient, time-saving, and most importantly, budget-friendly. This is exactly why I recommend going for Acco Motor Insurance. On the Acco app, it makes the entire purchase and claim journey super smooth and you can manage your policies on the go. What's more, you can download it right now at www.acco.com or on the App Store.
And back to the vlog. Straight away we are going to unlock the car first because it's actually locked, auto locked or something of that sort. We are going to be opening the engine bay, which happens to be the what is happening? Yeah, this is the 1.3 liter turbo petrol engine. There's insulation right there and that's about it, because I am going to lock the car and show you one of the coolest features of the Astor, for which I have to take help of this Android phone. Here we are going to actually be unlocking this car. So yeah, it says disconnected. We are connecting it. Can you see this, guys? Yeah, it is connecting. It's connected here and I will unlock the car. There the car actually unlocks. You saw the this thing coming out. Now what I'm going to do, one second, I'm just going to keep it down here. Sorry about that. I am going to go to the corner here on the curb. I'm going to keep the keys of the vehicle and I'm going to pick that phone up. With Bluetooth, we are going to be turning this car on. How does that work? First and foremost, I have to activate the engine. So here it is activating the engine. It's already done that, I believe. And then we are going to turn on the car. It says lights on. Of course, here we go. And there the car actually turns on, which is very impressive. This happened with Bluetooth. You don't need any network to do this. It happens with Bluetooth, which is so cool, which means even if you're in the basement, this is going to work. So that is kind of cool. Now before someone drops that key, let me go and pick it up from the curb. Now of course I've already done a detailed walk around of the Astor before, so today's vlog is going to actually focus on the driving experience of the Astor on this beautiful Formula 1 racetrack, the Budh International Circuit. Now in terms of design, I kind of feel it's a little bit ungainly from certain angles. However, that celestial grille looks fantastic. All LED lights with 9 crystal elements on the inside look beautiful. You see this LED, the DRL, well, they've kind of replicated it behind. The fog lamp is not LED. Let me quickly tell you about the highlight features. But before that, plenty of badges, AI inside, Brit Dynamic. There's a camera here, 17-inch wheels, 215/55/17, they call them the turbine wheels, and red color brake calipers because it also gets rear discs. It gets red color brake calipers at the rear too. And of course, I was telling you the LED DRL. Well, at the front, what they have done, they have also replicated at the rear. Astor written there, ZS there, ADAS, and of course, you have got rear parking sensors, rear camera. This car has got 5 cameras and 6 freaking radars. Alright, Faisal Khan's fingers of truth, not really happy with the fake exhaust. However, the real exhaust happens to be right there, of course. Now, the whole idea of the Astor is to bring AI, autonomous intelligence, and of course, not autonomous, but artificial intelligence and autonomous technology as well, because it has got adaptive cruise control as well, along with a slew of other very amazing safety tech. But here you see, they are the radars of the car. Now we are going to do one thing is we are going to open the boot of the vehicle. Chrome door handles request sensor is there on the other side as well, which is actually a good thing. This is so like Volkswagen. I kind of like it. Boot is, I would say, decent sized, and spare wheel obviously is smaller size because it cannot fit a full size spare wheel. 215/60/16. This is not an alloy wheel. This is a steel wheel, of course. Split forward seating. I mean 60/40 split. There's a light placement right there. And quality of the cabin is actually quite impressive because there are plenty of soft touch materials. Here obviously I cannot sit, but let me tell you, there's good amount of space on offer. Seat recline angle is also fine. Headroom is also good. It gets 3 height adjustable headrests as well, which is again a very good thing. Something you would expect, of course. Isofix child seat mounts and nice red stitching. I like this red color. You can get the interior in 3 color options. This is the red one. I think there's also a black one as such. and this soft material really ups the appeal of the car. But obviously hard plastics are there in plenty. You get a center, you get a center armrest with cup holders. I like the fact that this can be opened and closed, and there are 5 USB charging sockets inside this car, rear AC vents, and one of them actually happens to be for the dash cam. So seat gets electric adjust, obviously very comfortable seats. The car is very impressive as such. In fact, it's got almost everything, card holder here, whatnot. This car has got almost everything you would expect. However, some features are missing, like there's no ventilated seats, there's no heads-up display. Obviously, I'm comparing it with the Korean siblings, and there is no auto dimming inside rear view mirror. Now, this is actually a glaring omission. Air conditioning off because it's making some noise. Massive panoramic roof. In fact, it covers 90% of the area. We're going to do one thing. We're just going to open it, and there it opens. So quality levels are very impressive. Specifically speaking, on the dashboard of the car, the quality is really very nice because of this nice soft touch material. This is a 10.1 inch screen. It's not the most responsive as such. I think we'll have to close the sun blind because it's bringing in a lot of reflection. Flat bottom steering wheel. That is a 7-inch screen which has plenty of information. It says MG Pilot because of the safety tech on offer, of course. Start stop button. This one has plenty of tech, like I was telling you. I mean, there is this beautiful 360-degree camera. You can get into the 3D mode, and I mean, you cannot flip it here or there, which is kind of disappointing because a lot of cars are actually getting it right now. That said, it does not get a branded audio system, but it gets this AI bot or whatever you want to call it. Hello, Astor.
Yes.
Tell me a joke.
A perfectionist walked into a bar, but he walked out soon after. Apparently, the bar wasn't set high enough.
Ha ha ha. Some of the jokes are obviously very lame here, but then it has got Wikipedia and it can get you a lot of information. In fact, whenever you call it, it makes this thing, you know, it actually blinks and stuff like that. Hello, Astor.
How can I help?
Open sunroof. There it goes, and it actually shows you the graphic here as well. So I kind of find this cool, but some might actually find it kind of distracting, of course. And then we're just going to close the sunroof for the moment. Now, storage spaces are also in plenty. Here you obviously got storage and whatnot. Electric parking brake, auto hold function, twin cup holders as well. And then we have Nuren the racer in this car wearing a helmet, and yeah, that did not go down well. Any which ways, it's got this blind spot monitor, which obviously you can see right now if I kind of zoom. Yeah, there it is. I think it is not much to talk about because we have spoken about the features so many times, but this is super cool. The screen could have been a little bit more responsive, but has got plenty of features as such. Let's see how is the driving experience of this car. All right, we are all set to go, which means we get into drive, we get into sport straight away. I'm going to turn off traction control, air conditioning is off, and we are obviously going to change the steering modes as well, which we go into modes, vehicle settings, and into dynamic. Left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator, revving the motor. It rests till 2700 RPM. Some amount of wheel spin, box down, and off we go. There comes 100 kilometers per hour. It actually is a very smooth motor as such, very refined as well, and definitely performance is more than adequate. I would say the motor is very responsive lower down the rev range, but there is some lag which you have to contend with. Here doing almost 163 kilometers per hour. Actually, I'm going to brake at 163 kilometers per hour. That's the reason I was saying almost doing 163 kilometers per hour. 165 onto the brakes. Brakes are very nice. There's good amount of grip on offer for sure, and definitely this is a car which doesn't feel at home on the track, but has, I would say, decent driving manners for sure. The only thing is that the gearbox is not that responsive. Now, this is a 6-speed torque converter gearbox. It is not very fast with upshifts. It's not really ready to give you a downshift when you drive aggressively, but that's not a big issue as such because you're not really going to be pushing this car hard and fast as such. I love the fact that it is kind of neutral on the track. Obviously, it understeers in plenty. Naturally, this is not its natural habitat, of course, and there is decent amount of grip on offer for sure. This is a 1.3 liter turbo petrol engine, which is actually a 3-cylinder unit, and for a 3-cylinder unit, this is very, very, very refined and smooth. In fact, even in the top end now, it doesn't make that scrambling for air sound of noise. It's kind of refined throughout the rev range, which is actually a very good thing. Turbo lag is not the best in terms of being contained. There's some amount of lag lower down to contend with, but the mid-range is really very strong, and obviously the top end is lacking here because it redlines at 5,900 rpm. That's a very early redline as such here. With traction control off as well, you don't have to worry much because obviously front wheel drive, so it's just going to understeer. It's not going to scare you silly at all. Grip levels are very impressive for the track, but there is a lot of body roll to contend with. Obviously, we've got 3 drive modes, rather steering modes, no drive modes: dynamic, normal, and urban. You can't really feel much of a difference. Obviously, it adds up artificial weight to the steering wheel, but the difference isn't a world apart, and that is kind of disappointing because I was like, okay, steering modes are there, which should make much of a difference, but it really doesn't. We're driving in sport mode right now, which gives you an added oomph, but this engine is a typical MG motor, a typical MG turbo petrol engine, wherein it has a good mid-range punch, not the best low end, and obviously doesn't even have a top end to speak of. Refinement levels are brilliant, not only from the engine, but even the tire noise and the road noise can't be heard much inside the cabin, which is brilliant. I would say this engine gets the job done with 140 horsepower, 220 Newton meters of torque. Yeah, 140 horsepower and 220 Newton meters of torque, which is actually, when you think of it, is less than its rivals, the Creta, the Seltos, even the Duster for that matter. And it is having predictable roll. It doesn't scare you silly. So I would say the driving manners are better than the Creta for sure, and the suspension is sprung on the softer side, which will yield good ride quality on the road. But that softness now, I believe, will create some bounciness over bad bumps. But here out on the track, I can't feel any of that bounciness, obviously, because the roads are super duper smooth. This car has got a slew of safety tech, ADAS, which is Advanced Driver Assistance Systems, plenty of them, which make sure that safety is the paramount importance. Obviously, this got a 5-star in terms of NCAP rating, and it's got automatic emergency braking, forward collision warning, plenty of safety tech in this car. That's not all. It's got lane departure warning, lane departure prevention, blind spot monitor, reverse cross traffic alert. Easy to put it into a corner because the overall balance is so neutral with this car. And as soon as you get into the throttle, now there is some amount of wheel spin. The lack of traction and that wheel spin is mainly largely because of the turbo kicking full flow and then punching hard. But that's fine. That's a non-issue. What I like about this car is that MG has gone bonkers in terms of offering a lot of safety tech, which is actually a good thing because that is what is differentiating it from its rivals. Something unique in the segment. Obviously, pricing is going to be very important. I don't know how MG is going to price it, but they definitely have to undercut the Hector, which is slightly bigger in terms of size. Not slightly, kind of a lot bigger. You can say one size up. This is going to compete with the Creta, the Kushaq, and all this. Mainly, I would say Kushaq and the Taycan because it doesn't get a diesel engine. It gets another 1.5 liter petrol engine, which is a naturally aspirated unit that produces 110 horsepower and 144 Newton meters of torque. That's a 4-cylinder engine. In fact, this is a 3-cylinder engine. That's the reason it doesn't drink much fuel apparently. That's the reason also for the fact that it gets a 45 liter fuel tank. Meanwhile, the 1.5 liter petrol engine gets a 48 liter fuel tank. So driving manners better than Hyundai cars for sure, and the balance is neutral at best, which means that most people will not complain. It's an easy car to drive. It's actually very, very, very easy to drive as such, which again is a good thing. So the horn is decent, I would say. It is not really loud. It doesn't have to be. Let's get through this corner, and I like the fact that MG is tuning the car so much better. It feels a lot more engaging to drive than say the Hector. And the steering wheel, neutral, does feel a little artificially weighed up, but most people are not going to have a problem. It doesn't have much of a sound either. That 3-cylinder thrum is not there, which I can't feel at the moment, maybe because I have my helmet on. But redline comes in so early, under 6,000 rpm, 5,300 rpm or 5,900 rpm depending on the gear. This 6-speed torque converter gearbox could be faster with shifts, and this turbo petrol engine, well, I don't know how many people are going to opt for it, because most people are going to opt for the naturally aspirated engine, the petrol, because there's no diesel on offer, and obviously that is more cost effective as well. So guys, as I see it, I think the MG Astor is a fantastic car. the focus is really not on driving, but it drives decently well. It doesn't have the best handling, but it handles better than average. And of course, the slew of ADAS technologies and safety tech is really the highlight here. Now we're going to go for a top speed run. Here we are full throttle. Let's see where it reaches. Everything feels a little different, little unique, and great attention to detail specifically for the Indian market. And that is one of the reasons why the Astor is going to sell in really good numbers, provided they obviously get their pricing right. And on that bombshell, it's time to end. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this vlog, make sure to give the thumbs up. That is the like button. Yeah, we did 165 earlier also. We did 167 right now. So that's about it. The engine actually goes out of breath in the top end and obviously gets out of breath once you cross 150 kilometers per hour. But wind noise is very well contained. You can't hear much of the wind or the road, which is actually the USP here. I don't know where these people, rather the birds, come out from, but hey, I should also tell them like, share and subscribe to the channel. Let me know what you guys think about the MG Astor. I was going to say Hector, Astor. And obviously, will you pick this over, say, the Creta, or even the Seltos, or probably the Taycan or the Kushaq? Yes, this segment is really booming. Nuren is almost going to come to the driver's seat, and on that, well, I don't know what to say, disappointment or eagerness, or maybe, you know, lack of support from that seat. Well, it's just the G-force. So right now we are on a hot lap. Obviously car gets a little bit roly-poly because there is body roll, but hard onto the brakes, onto the gas, come on. That instant response is somehow lacking. But yes, tires scrambling for traction, picks up pace nicely in the mid-range, and then pushes hard and then kind of gets sluggish in the top end of the rev range. You can see beyond 4000 RPM, there's not much grunt left inside this vehicle to push hard and fast. However, that said, for city driving, the mid-range will really surprise you, because that is where the turbo really has the meat of the power band and the torque to ensure that the car performs flawlessly well, both in the city as well as out on the highway. Yeah, in the city you would, okay, we hit 168 kilometers per hour. In the city you might definitely miss on a little bit of drivability because of the turbo lag. You can see around the corners there is a roll, but once you get on the throttle, you want that instant response. That's kind of lacking. But for the most part, you're not going to complain, because no one's going to really drive the Astor like this. Actually, no one's going to drive any SUV like this, at least on the road, definitely not. And no one's going to get it on the track either. Here, a flick left, and we keep going, rolling. The front kind of washing out, understeer in plenty, and a lot of roll as well. But you know, it is able to shift its body, not really badly as such. So that also manages quite well. There you see. Yeah, baby. I wish there were paddle shifters here to take manual control of things. So out on the track, you couldn't really make much of a difference between the various steering modes, but here I am able to understand on the same turns that there is a change in the weight of the steering wheel, which obviously becomes heavier in dynamic mode, but in urban mode it is a lot lighter, much easier to twirl the steering and just easier to drive and maneuver this car. But you know, it kind of feels a little bit on the artificial side. Of course, when you have such things, it will.